Hello there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Clone troopers are supposed to be identical genetic copies of one another. But the second they are hatched from their nurseries on Camino, each clone assumes an individual identity and path in life. So while all clones are made the same, not all of them will perform at the same level. Today we'll be taking a look at 8 of the best clone troopers in the entire Grand Army of the Republic. Of course, Captain Rex is going to be at the top of our list. He's probably the most famous clone in the entire Grand Army of the Republic. Now, because all clones are genetically identical, how clones like Captain Rex turn out is heavily based on nurture rather than nature. Captain Rex has the benefit of being paired with some of the most talented and plot-important Jedi like Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, sure, Anakin Skywalker is oftentimes remembered for his crimes against Jedi babies and domestic abuse against Padme, but as a military commander, he was one of the best out there, and he expected a great deal out of his men, but at the same time carefully watched out for their safety because he truly did care about them.
They're all over me! I'm gonna go help them out.
Most military commanders are trained to not get too close to their men. This is so that they can put the mission first and sacrifice soldiers if necessary. But Anakin has the skill and compassion to achieve the mission and also protect the men he cares about. Of course, it's not easy keeping up with someone like Anakin Skywalker on the battlefield. He is the chosen one, and he can be careless and overly aggressive at times. Captain Rex was able to survive many battles alongside Anakin Skywalker, from the vertical assault on Teth to the second battle of Geonosis and invasion of Umbara. It says a lot about his skills and tenacity. But Anakin and his Padawan Ahsoka Tano have also saved Captain Rex's life on several occasions, making sure that he could learn from those near-fatal accidents and continue improving his own combat abilities. We, the audience, have also witnessed some of Captain Rex's greatest deeds firsthand, like his desperate defense against the savage Talz on Ordo Plutonia, or his defense of a small Lorman village from a separatist superweapon. Captain Rex not only became a superb fighter fighting underneath Anakin Skywalker, he also developed a very clear moral compass. He usually comes down on the right side of history. Like when he didn't turn in Cutlu Queen for desertion, or when he stood up against General Pong Krell's ridiculous orders, or when he fought the inhibitor chip during Order 66. Captain Rex is the kind of clone you want to serve under because you know he's going to be watching out for your best interest. Clone Marshal Commander Cody is the clone you would want in charge of your military if you were, say, Chancellor Palpatine. And that's because Commander Cody was not only a great individual fighter and strategic mastermind, he was also very reliable and loyal to the cause. Commander Cody got his tutelage under the Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi. General Kenobi was a very accomplished Jedi, but far more cautious than individuals like Anakin and Ahsoka. As a Jedi Master, Obi-Wan Kenobi would make it onto the High Jedi Council at a relatively young age, but this was because he showed a great deal of maturity and adherence to the rules. Both Kenobi and Cody were by-the-book type of officers. This is what made their pairing so great. While Cody spent the majority of his time commanding troops in larger battalions or legion-sized groups, he also occasionally ventured to the front or behind enemy lines with smaller units in special operations. During the Battle of Ryloth, Cody successfully leads an assault against Separatist AA guns. During the second Battle of Geonosis, his troop transport was shot down, and Cody managed to hastily create a perimeter and sent out a rescue mission to retrieve General Kenobi from his own downed transport. Commander Cody is the type of commander you want in charge when you're playing a game like Total War, and you just want the AI to simulate the battle for you so you don't have to do all that work yourself. He's dependable and he gets results, and he's almost as good as a Jedi General when it comes to commanding in the field. He's exactly what the clones were built for. Clones aren't necessarily known for being excellent pilots, but they are a one-size-fits-all solution for the Grand Army of the Republic. This means the majority of the starfighter pilots in the JAR were clones, and amongst the most talented of those pilots was an individual named Oddball. He was a clone commander who was skilled in flying and leading flights of V-19 Torrent, Y-Wings, and ARC-170 starfighters. While he was never really heavily featured in the Clone Wars TV show, he was usually the one the clones on the ground called when they needed air support or cover. During the Battle of Umbara, the 501st was in danger of having their position overrun by the locals. Oddball leads a flight of Y-Wings on a danger close mission and manages to destroy a good portion of the enemy fighters, causing them to retreat. During the Battle of Coruscant, Oddball and his unit were placed in ARC-170s and provided cover for Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. Once they helped the Jedi break through the Separatist lines, they were ordered to stay on station and cover the Jedi while they were inside of the Invisible Hand trying to rescue the Chancellor. Even though Oddball did not believe that the Jedi would make it out of the situation, he still did his duty and stayed behind, even though his ARC 170 starfighter was quite vulnerable during this specific battle. During the Ryloth campaign, Mace Windu took on the challenging mission of retaking Lesu from the Separatists. The mission was challenging for multiple reasons. One, Mace Windu for some reason elected to land his armored column miles away from the targets, and so his forces had to journey by walker through strange and barren lands full of choke points and seppi ambushes. Ryloth was also famous for dangerous fauna and weather. When Master Windu's armored column comes under fire while on a windy cliffside road, the Jedi Master quickly launches a counter-offensive with the help of ARC troopers Razor and Stack. Using AT-RTs, the clones fight their way through heavy enemy fire and manage to destroy the Seppi tank platoon. Later, Razor and Stack would accompany Master Windu on his historic meeting with Cham Syndulla. Finally, during the assault on Lesu, it was Razor and Stack who would stow away on board a MTT with Mace Windu in order to infiltrate the city. The two of them would end up breaching the control tower room by themselves and fight off several BX series commando droids and turn on the plasma bridge so that the rest of the Twi'lek and clone attack force could cross the bridge and take the city. Now, ARC troopers are supposed to be better trained than normal clones. Some might even classify them as special forces because of the type of missions they usually encounter. The fact that Razor and Stack could keep up with someone like Jedi Master Mace Windu just shows us why they belong on this list. The 501st Legion is going to have many individuals on this list simply because their commander Anakin Skywalker was usually sent to some of the most difficult and important fronts of the war. What makes CT-6116 Kix unique is the fact that he is a clone medic, one of the unsung heroes in the Grand Army of the Republic who does not get nearly enough recognition for his actions. As one of the few combat medics we do see in the Clone Wars, Kix's main focus is not just the mission, but keeping his men safe and alive. While on a routine patrol of Captain Rex on BARC speeders, a group of commando droids ambushed them and managed to knock out Captain Rex with a sniper round. While the rest of the clones pursued the enemy, Kix immediately went back to defend and treat his commanding officer. Kix shows great calm under fire and is quickly able to assess Rex's injury and stabilize him for the time being. Kix also makes a quick judgment call and realizes that the wound is severe enough that Rex will need to be sheltered immediately. He can't be brought back to base. When Captain Rex wakes up later on, he tries to get back into the fight. Even though Rex outranks Kix, he's still a patient in getting treatment, and so in this case, Kix is the one who has the ultimate authority, and he does tell Rex to get some rest. Without Kix's quick thinking and medical skills, it's possible that we would have lost Captain Rex. It's nice to know that you have a medic that places the safety of the men before anything else. During the Battle of Umbara, Kix had a really tough time serving underneath the command of Pong Krell, who had the tendency to use up clones like cannon fodder. But what really makes Kix one of the best clones is the fact that he independently figured out that the biochips inside of the clones' brains were designed to kill the Jedi. Unfortunately, Count Dooku finds out that the clone medic is getting close to the Sith's secret. And so the Separatists kidnap him and put him in a stasis pod and transport him towards Serrano. Unfortunately, that cruiser with Kix on it gets ambushed by the Republic, and before the ship is destroyed, the droid crew on board decide to jump into hyperspace to an unknown area. Kix would wake up 50 years later and become officially the last living clone. Fives has to be on this list of the most talented clones in the Grand Army of the Republic. Fives' service on Rishi Moon shows exactly just how special he was. When the outpost was attacked by commando droids, it was overrun, leaving only a few clones, including Fives, left. Luckily, Rex and Cody were checking on the base for a routine maintenance run and discovered what had happened. Rex and Fives would meet for the first time and they would work together in retaking the base, which actually gets Fives recruited into the 501st Legion. This shows that Fives was able to impress Rex and Cody pretty early on with his skills and ability to adapt to a situation. Later on, Fives participated in defending Camino. During one of the crucial stages of the battle, Fives rallies with a bunch of clone cadets and gives a rousing speech to them. This is a great example of how Fives took leadership into his own hands and motivated other clones to be strong and believe in themselves during this dark time. And after the Battle of Camino, his efforts did not go unnoticed, and he would be promoted to ARC Trooper. During the Battle of Umbara, following a failed attempt to reach the Umbaran capital city, Fives and the rest of the 501st would hold an Umbaran spaceport against increasing enemy resistance. Frustrated with his commander Pong Krell's decisions, Fives would take matters into his own hands and take a captured enemy aircraft and target the enemy fleet above the planet. Despite Fives' lack of familiarity with Umbaran technology, his plan proves to be successful. Fives, along with several other clones, managed to destroy a good portion of the Separatist fleet. It took a lot of guts going up against General Pong's direct order not to pull off this crazy plan. He also had no guarantee that he would make it back alive. Fives is a selfless individual who also happens to be very individualistic, and so he's able to do whatever he thinks is best at any time. Following Tup's chip malfunction and his killing of General Tiplar, Fives accompanies his friend back to Kamino. Fives quickly grows suspicious of the care afforded to Tup and begins to suspect that the Kaminoans are possessing an ulterior motive. The ARC Trooper manages to convince a droid to remove an organic mass that he's detected in Tup's brain. Tup eventually dies from medical complications, but Fives was smart enough to realize that something was not right, and so he gets that same medical droid to remove the chip from his own brain as well. Fives would go on to almost uncover the inhibitor chip conspiracy, but ultimately Palpatine was one step ahead of him. Fives would die on the run as a fugitive after supposedly attempting to assassinate the Chancellor. But those who fought alongside Fives will remember him as one of the most selfless clones in the 501st. No matter what obstacle he faced, Fives always had a strong moral compass, and he would always try to do the right thing. If you had known Echo as a cadet on Kamino, you would have noticed how keen he was to follow orders and study the regulation manuals. He was the type of clone who would get lost without the rules and guidance books. He lacked initiative, basically. But somehow Echo managed to survive longer than anyone else in his cadet squad. Echo would take part in defending the Rishi Moon outpost and prevented the successful Separatist invasion of Kamino. He would be promoted to ARC Trooper because of his performance, but then he would go MIA during a mission to the Citadel. His team had been pinned down by heavy weapons emplacement and cut off from their transport. Echo bravely tried to take out the enemy position and secure their shuttle, but was blown into pieces. Everyone thought Echo died, but instead what happened was he was turned into a cyborg by Watambor and hooked to a machine that predicted the strategies that the clones would use on the battlefield. Echo would later on be saved by Captain Rex and the Bad Batch, but the experience left him scarred and traumatized. Most people would have been deeply depressed and unable to handle their new body and augmentations, but Echo showed a mental toughness that was rare even amongst clones. Despite all that happened to him, he decided to continue fighting and joins up with the Bad Batch as one of their regular members. So there you have it, guys. These are 8 clones who really went above and beyond the call of duty. Of course, I know you guys all have your own favorites out there, so let me know in the comment section below who are in your top 8. As usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.